Hey everybody, we're going to be in your Math and Focus book, this one, the textbook, on page 320 today. We're going to be doing lesson 18.2. By way of review, does everyone remember what a three-sided shape is? Great, it's a triangle. What about a four-sided shape? What is the name for all the four-sided shapes? Great, that's a quadrilateral. What about five-sided shapes? Great, that's a hexagon, pentagon. What? Okay, what about six-sided shapes? Hexagon. And eight-sided shapes? Octagon. Very good. Keep reviewing those kinds of quadrilaterals. For example, a parallelogram with two sets of parallel sides. A trapezoid has one set of parallel sides. A rhombus is a parallelogram that has all equal sides. And a special kind of rhombus with four right angles would be a square. A square has four equal sides and four right angles. A parallelogram that has four right angles but may or may not have all sides equal, that's a rectangle. Don't forget those. All right, starting on new content today. 18.2. Today we're going to use the word congruent. Can you say the word congruent? Very good. Congruent means same. They are the same. If something is congruent, it's the same thing as saying equal to. So if I were drawing some shapes, this S is congruent to this S. They're the same size, they're the same shape. All right, but if I said, is this S congruent to this S? No, they're similar, they're the same shape, but are they the same size? No. So congruent they are equal. It means they are the same. They are the same size, same shape. If something is similar, they may be the same shape, but not necessarily the same size. Now, when you are looking at congruent figures, sometimes you see them moved on a page. The fancy math word for that is transformation. There's different types of transformations, and they're flip, slide, and turn. Fancy word for flip is reflection. A fancy name for slide is translation. You're translating it to the side. And a fancy name for turn is rotate or rotation. Let's talk about how they're moved. Here in the book, you see this puppy dog does a slide to the side. It translates. It goes to the side. That is a slide. Say slide. It's a move in any direction. You can translate this dog or slide this dog any direction, right? But the dog's size and shape remains the same. It's the same exact direction. All right. Over here, you'll see if I hold the letter D in front of a mirror and that mirror looks back at me, you'll notice it doesn't look exactly the same. So here, it's always across the line. It's flipped. We took the D and it flipped. You took the D and it flipped. Very good. If I took this little toy cookie right here, right, and I reflected it in a mirror, right, I reflected it, I need a blank surface. Across the line, the other one would be the same shape and the same distance from that line. So if this one were way over here, forgive my tracing skills, then this one should be the same distance apart from the line because it's reflected, right? So that's a flip. You're flipping it over, you're reflecting it over the line. It's a flip. Say reflection, say flip. They're the same. All right. The next one we're going to learn is turn. You'll see this sheep. One of them looks all the way upside down. That's because it has been turned. If I took this marker and I turned it, it would be turned 90 degrees. I can turn it a whole 180 degrees, but instead of the cap being over here, now the cap is way over here. I could turn it all the way up. It is turned. Okay, but no matter if they did a flip a slide, or a turn, they all remained congruent. We didn't change the size or shape of this marker or this little cookie thing. All right, trace one of the two figures. Cut it out and place it on top of the other figure. Decide which sets of shapes have been slid in any direction. Let's do this in our minds. Let's actually not cut up our textbook. Sound like a good idea? All right, here we've had a slide. We slid that arrow up. Here, there's been another slide because the shapes remained congruent. You can just move them over. But are these a slide? No, because the shapes did not remain congruent. Now down here, which ones of these are flips? Here it's a flip because the shape remained all the same, it just is flipped over the line. Here, are these shapes still congruent? No, so they are not a flip. Are these shapes flipped? Yes, they go, this side becomes here, this corner goes way over here, this corner here, it's just been flipped over. Which ones have been rotated? You can see that they are rotated on a dot. So this shape was moved however many degrees over, and it's rotated, yes. Number 8, looks like a holly leaf. Is it rotated? Yes. Is this one rotated? No, it has to be rotated on a point, and this one is called reflection. This one has been reflected. All right. These are still congruent. It doesn't have to do with the color of the shape, it just has to remain the same size and the same shape. So even though this pentagon is yellow and this pentagon is green, they're congruent. And this one's blue and this one's red, they're still congruent. None of these are congruent because they're not the same size or the same shape in these. And here, they're just not the same size. Guided practice. We're on page 324 now. If you want to try it first, I'm going to pause. You can do numbers 10 through 19. I want you to pause it. And when you're done, come back. All right, I'm back. Hope you did it. Number 10. Have these been, which translation were they? Flip, slide, or turn? The answer is slide. What about here? And sorry, are they congruent? Yes. Are these congruent? No. It would have been a slide, but they're not congruent. These would have been rotated. They are still congruent. Yes. Are these congruent? Yes, they have also been rotated. Number 14, draw two congruent hexagons. Draw a third hexagon that is not congruent. I'll have to try my best at drawing. Just do your best. If it's close and you know that you meant to do it congruent, then you're good. These are congruent. They're the same size, same shape. Here's one that is not congruent because it's not the same size. All right, draw two congruent shapes. Draw a third shape having the same shape but not congruent. Okay, I'm going to do a triangle, triangle. Those are congruent, right? They're equal. Well, as equal as I can make them. Same shape, not congruent. It's much smaller. Draw two congruent parallelograms. Then draw a third parallelogram that is not congruent. Let's try it. Parallelogram. They're about as congruent as I know how to draw them. They're equal. They're congruent. Now draw a third one that is not congruent. Let's try this one. It's not the same size or the exact same shape of parallelogram. So this one is not congruent. Look at the US flag. How many stars are there? 50. You should know that. 50 nifty, United States. Are the stars congruent? Yes. Are the stripes congruent? Some of them. You'll notice these stripes are all congruent in this section, and these stripes are all congruent in this section because they're the same size. These are of a different size. Down here, we're going to do the let's practice. I want you to try these on your own again, and then I will go over them with you. So pause the video. You can do 1 through 5. Just do 1 through 5 for now. All right, pause. All right, I hope you've done 1 through 5. Which figure shows a slide? Which ones of these show a slide? Well, A just shows one shape. B shows a turn. C shows a flip. D shows a slide. The answer is D. Which one shows a turn? Figure B shows a turn. This is a pattern. The triangles are going from left to right is an illustration of, well, they're flipping left to right. They're also sliding left to right. So I would accept both. But how about you put flip and slide? Like they flipped over, but they also slid over a direction. Number 4. Choose the figure that shows a turn. The answer is C, because you could turn this shape. You turned it, the arrow would go down and it would look just like C. J, this is reflected. It's not a turn. This J, if I turned it that way, I noticed that this J, if I were to turn it, would go, the hook would go up, not down, right? And each turn. Very good. So the answer is C. Now let's do this page, problem 6, right? Let's just do it together. The two rectangles are congruent. Are they congruent? True. So you would mark true. Rectangle A was flipped to make rectangle B. False. Rectangle A was slid to make rectangle B. False. Rectangle A was turned to make rectangle B. True. Trace the figures, cut it out, and place on top. Choose which one is congruent. The answer is, if you flip it over, it's C. C has been flipped. This one is too skinny, and this one is too small. As a little extension activity, I want you to try to make the first letter of your name. Mine is S, and it could be kind of fun. I want you to try to slide it. I want you to try to flip it. And I want you to try to turn it 4 times. So here's an S, here's an S, here's an S. Oh, that's backwards. That's hard to do. Here's an S, and here is an S. That's tough. I want you to try to do that with the first letter of your name now. Awesome. Now don't forget to do the workout page, the workbook pages. It's going to be pages 207 to 210 in your workbook, which you should have. Please use your workbook if you have it. If you don't, I will upload those pages for you too. So practice flipping, sliding, and turning different objects and drawing them throughout the week. That would be a good way to practice that skill. Thanks, guys, for following along. I appreciate it. Have a great day.